I still hear it sometimes. The twisting metal, the glass breaking like thin ice under a slow, cruel step. They tell me it's been 8 months, but in my head, it's still happening. My sister Jen calls every Sunday. She always asks the same thing. Did you go outside this week? And I always lie, yet just to the mailbox. The truth is, I haven't crossed the threshold in 43 days. But who's counting? I am. I'm always counting. When I close my eyes, I see headlights bloom across the dark. That night, Marcus was driving. My best friend since college, the guy who never missed a yellow light, who made terrible jokes at red ones. We were coming back from his mum's birthday dinner, arguing about whether pineapple belongs on pizza, the kind of argument that matters for exactly 5 minutes and then dissolves into laughter. For a moment, there was peace, the silence before the impact. Then everything bent, screamed, folded into itself, and I was suspended in a second that refuses to end. Marcus walked away with a broken arm and nightmares for a month. He texts me every few days now. Coffee, my treat. I haven't responded to the last 11. I survived. They told me I was lucky. The doctor, Dr. Ramon, with kind eyes that pitied me, said my injuries were remarkably minor. 3 cracked ribs, a concussion, some impressive bruising. But luck feels like a lie when every breath after feels stolen, trembling, borrowed. My mum stayed with me those first 2 weeks. She'd make chamomile tea I wouldn't drink and sit across from me, searching my face for the daughter she recognized. You just need time, sweetheart, she'd say, her voice tight with worry. It gets easier. But days blurred into each other, and every sound a door slam, a horn, a dropped cup cracked open the same wound. Mum would flinch when I flinched, and eventually, the weight of her helplessness filled the apartment until neither of us could breathe. I stopped driving. I said it was just temporary insurance stuff, paperwork. You know how it is. Then I stopped riding in cars. Jen offered to take me to therapy. I told her I'd take the bus. Then I stopped crossing roads. The crosswalk near my building became a chasm I couldn't bridge. Then I stopped leaving the house altogether. It wasn't a choice, really. It was more like the fear made choices for me. I pulled my hand back. You weren't in the car, Jen. Jen came over last month, unannounced. She has a key for emergencies, and apparently I'd become one. She found me at the kitchen table, surrounded by delivery boxes I hadn't thrown away, wearing the same sweatpants for the 3rd day straight. Maya, she sat down across from me, her voice gentle but firm. This isn't living. I'm alive, I said. That counts for something, does it? She reached across the table, her hand stopping just short of mine. Because from where I'm sitting, you look like you're hiding from life, not living it. I know. Her eyes welled up. But I'm losing my sister anyway. After she left, I stood at my window for hours, watching people live, move, trust gravity and momentum like fools. Didn't they know how thin the thread was? How easily it snaps? The world outside became loud, unpredictable, dangerous. Even the hum of the fridge started to sound like a warning. My heart would race when the wind brushed against the window, each sound a ghost of that night, replaying through new shapes. Marcus finally stopped texting. That hurt more than I thought it would. Friends stopped calling. I stopped replying. My co-worker Devin, who used to share memes with me, every morning sent one last message. We miss you, but you have to meet us halfway. I didn't know how to tell them that halfway felt like miles. I began timing my movements, calculating outcomes that never came. If I reached for a glass, I imagined it shattering. If I lit the stove, I saw the flame consume me. If I showered, I imagined slipping, cracking my skull on the tile. So I moved slower, then slower, until stillness became the only safety left. Mum left groceries outside my door every Thursday. She stopped knocking. Just a text, "Food's here. Love you." 3 words that somehow contained both hope and resignation. I used to think survival meant living. Now I know it just means not dying. The walls became my companions. The ticking clock, my jailer. Sometimes I'd stare at the cracks in the ceiling and trace patterns like fault lines waiting to give way. People talk about trauma like it fades. But fear doesn't fade. It grows roots. It reshapes your mind until safety feels foreign and danger feels honest. Last Tuesday, there was a power cut. The building manager, Mrs. Chen, knocked on doors, checking on everyone. I didn't answer. The house fell silent and in the dark. I felt the accident return. The headlights, the metal, the silence before the scream. I stumbled through the dark, whispering to myself that it wasn't real. But the floor seemed to move. My heart sprinted toward a finish line I couldn't see. I reached the door, my hands trembling on the handland for a moment. I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe I end where I began, frozen between motion and fear. But then I saw it. A faint light outside a car stuck at the end of the street. Hazard lights blinking like a dying heartbeat. Someone was inside. Still, alone. I don't remember deciding to move. My body did it before my mind could protest. Each step outside felt like walking barefoot across broken glass. The air tasted metallic sharp, electric-like that night. My ribs ached, my legs shook, but I kept moving. When I reached the car, the window was fogged. I knocked, no response. I opened the door and there she was. A girl, maybe 19 or 20, clutching the wheel like it was the only thing keeping her alive. Her chest heaved with rapid, shallow breaths. She whispered, "I think I can't breathe." And for a moment, I saw myself trapped in that endless second after the crash. So I told her softly to breathe in and out. "You're okay. You're safe. Just breathe with me." Even as my own lungs forgot how. Even as my hands shook so hard I had to grip the car door to steady them. She did, slowly, and when her breath steadied, she looked at me really, looked and said, "You were scared too, weren't you?" I wanted to say no, but fear doesn't let you lie. Not convincingly. "Yeah," I whispered. "I still am." "What happened to you?" she asked. I almost told her to mind her own business, but something in her eyes, the rawness, the recognition made me answer honestly. "Car accident. 8 months ago." "How did you get over it?" I laughed, and it came out bitter. "I didn't. I'm standing here in pajamas I've worn for 3 days, shaking so hard I might collapse because I haven't left my apartment in over a month." I paused, but I'm here anyway. When the engine started again, and she drove off slow, careful, the road felt different. Not safer, just real again. I stood there a long time after. The night was still, the wind cold, and for the first time, I felt something strange, not peace, but awareness. Like standing at the edge of a cliff and realizing you're both terrified and alive. Mrs. Chen found me on the sidewalk and walked me back inside. She didn't ask questions, just said, "I make dumplings tomorrow. You come, okay?" I thought that moment might change me, but fear is patient. It waits. The next morning, Jen's name lit up my phone. I stared at it for 3 rings before answering. "Hey," I said. The silence on the other end felt like surprise. Then, Maya. I looked at the door. "I went outside last night." "You did?" Her voice cracked. "Why? What happened?" "Someone needed help." I twisted the phone cord around my finger, and I guessed I did too. Now, I sit by the window again, watching cars pass, counting headlights. Sometimes I tell myself I'll walk outside tomorrow, Sometimes I even believe it. Yesterday, I responded to Marcus. Just 2 words. I'm trying. He wrote back immediately. That's enough. That's more than enough. Jen brought over lunch on Sunday. We ate at the kitchen table, and she didn't ask if I'd gone outside. She just told me about her week, about her terrible date, about the stray cat in her building that she's definitely not keeping. She's keeping it. And for 20 minutes, I forgot to calculate the distance between me and the door. Other times, I see reflections in the glass and I can't tell if it's the world moving or the memory. They say recovery is a journey, but what if the destination is just learning to coexist with the crash? To carry it, always, humming beneath the surface, a reminder that safety was only ever an illusion. Dr. Ramani finally called her back, says, "That's not defeat." She says that's acceptance. "You don't have to stop being afraid," she told me in our first video session. "You just have to stop letting fear make all your decisions." I'm not sure I believe her yet, but I'm showing up to find out. I survived. That's what they say. But every day since, I'm still surviving. Mrs. Chen's dumplings sit in containers in my fridge. I went to her apartment yesterday, just for 20 minutes. Just 1 floor down, but I went. Marcus wants to meet for coffee next week. I haven't said yes yet, but I haven't said no either. And maybe that's enough for now. Maybe survival isn't just about staying alive. Maybe it's about finding small reasons to believe that alive is worth it. The headlights flash again across my window. My breath catches like it always does. But this time, I don't close my eyes. I watch them pass. I count them and I whisper to myself, tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. And some days, tomorrow comes. Not every day, not most days, but some days. And right now that has to be enough.